Catastrophic flood has struck Japan, killing 8 people, knocking out power to 68,000 homes, and forcing nearly 200,000 under evacuation orders. In 24 hours, Chiba recorded 367 millimeters of rain, the highest total in the city station's recorded history. More than 6,000 people spent the night stranded inside Narita Airport. Dozens of rail lines stopped. A prefecture of 6 million halted. This is the August 2026 Chiba heavy rain, and this is what happened. On Thursday evening, August 13, an extraordinary rainstorm struck Chiba Prefecture, directly east of Tokyo. Chiba is home to approximately 6.28 million people. It contains dense residential districts, major commuter rail lines, industrial areas, farming communities, and Narita International Airport. The storm arrived during Obon, one of Japan's busiest travel periods, when millions of people were moving between cities and their family homes. The rain intensified with remarkable speed. Roads disappeared beneath muddy water. Cars stalled in underpasses and on flooded streets. Rail lines stopped. Thousands of travelers found themselves unable to leave stations, public buildings, or the airport. By 2:50 p.m. Friday, authorities had confirmed 8 deaths linked to the flooding. The latest update at that time no longer listed anyone as missing. In Chiba City, 367 millimeters, 14.5 inches of rain fell in 24 hours, the highest 24-hour total recorded at the city's weather station. At the height of the electrical disruption, approximately 68,000 homes lost power. Around 6,600 people remained inside Narita Airport overnight after ground transportation was cut. The Japan Meteorological Agency later gave the disaster an official name, the August 2026 Chiba heavy rain. This was not a typhoon landfall. It was a concentrated rainfall disaster produced by an exceptionally unstable atmosphere and repeated linear precipitation bands over the same part of the prefecture. The official warning timeline began much earlier than some initial reports suggested. At 7:30 p.m. on August 13, the Japan Meteorological Agency issued a level 5 heavy rain emergency warning for 12 cities: Chiba, Ichikawa, Funabashi, Matsudo, Sakura, Narashino, Kashiwa, Ichihara, Yachiyo, Kamagaya, Yotsukaido, and Shiroi. At 7:50 p.m., Abiko and Inzai were added. Yakimata and Tagene followed at 9:45 p.m. The warning was then expanded to Mobara, Omishira, Sato, Nagara, Shirako, Kujikuri, and Sanmu. In total, 22 municipalities came under the level 5 heavy rain emergency warning. A separate level 5 landslide emergency warning was first issued for Chiba City and Ichihara City at 9:55 p.m. It later expanded to Mobara, Omishira, Sato, Yachimata, and Togane, bringing that total to 6 cities. These were not evacuation orders issued by the National Weather Agency. They were the highest category of meteorological warning, information telling local governments and residents that a life-threatening disaster was occurring or immediately possible. At an emergency news conference, Japan Meteorological Agency forecast chief Takuya Hosomi said the region was experiencing rainfall unlike anything previously recorded there and urged people in dangerous locations to secure their safety immediately. At 5:15 a.m. Friday, all level 5 heavy rain and landslide warnings were downgraded to lower level warnings. That did not mean the danger had ended. Floodwater remained on roads, rivers were still elevated, and saturated ground left several communities exposed to additional landslides. By 10:33 a.m., all remaining level 4 heavy rain warnings in Chiba had been lowered to level 2 advisories. At that time, level 4 landslide warnings were still in effect for Chiba City, Ichihara, Mobara, and Wamashiro Sato. By mid-afternoon Friday, officials had confirmed 8 deaths in 5 municipalities, 3 in Chiba City, 2 in Sakura, 1 in Ichikawa, 1 in Yachiyo, and 1 in Kashiwa. Several victims were found on flooded roads or inside vehicles caught in deep water. In Ichikawa, a man believed to be in his 60s or 70s was found on a flooded roadway and later pronounced dead at a hospital. In Sakura, a 66-year-old woman died after becoming trapped inside a vehicle on an inundated road. A second man in Sakura was found collapsed on a roadway. He died after being taken to a hospital. In Kashiwa, a woman in her 70s was rescued from a flooded vehicle in cardiac arrest. She was later included in the confirmed death toll. The number changed repeatedly during the morning. Police, firefighters, hospitals, and municipal governments verified individual cases. Earlier reports of a missing person in Chiba City and a woman in cardiac arrest in Kashiwa should not be added to the final total. Both cases were resolved within the 8 confirmed deaths. An early prefectural update also reported 4 people with minor injuries. Injury assessments were still being collected from affected cities. The confirmed housing damage available by Friday morning included 1 home partially destroyed, 45 homes flooded above floor level, and 39 homes flooded below floor level. That is 84 flooded homes in addition to the partially destroyed building. Authorities warned that these figures represented only the first confirmed reports. Many flooded neighborhoods could not yet be fully surveyed. The most important rainfall measurement came from the Japan Meteorological Agency station in Chiba City. By 10 a.m. Friday, its rolling 24-hour rainfall total had reached 367 millimeters, breaking the previous station record of 309 millimeters set in October 2013. The shorter duration totals were just as significant. 348 millimeters fell in 12 hours in Chiba City, 115 millimeters fell in 1 hour at the Chiba weather station, a record for observations there dating to 1966, and 97 millimeters fell in 1 hour at Sakura, also a station record. Chiba City's normal rainfall for the entire month of August is approximately 115.7 millimeters. In only 12 hours, the city received roughly 3 times that monthly average. Other communities also recorded exceptional 24-hour totals by early Friday. Sakura 254.5 millimeters, Tateyama 211 millimeters, Abaco 206.5 millimeters, and Funabashi 203 millimeters. At several stations, these were the highest August totals in their observation histories. Meteorologists identified 3 separate linear precipitation bands during the event. The agency also issued 25 record short-duration heavy rain bulletins as intense cells repeatedly formed and passed over Chiba. The correct conclusion is not that every weather record in the prefecture was broken. The verified conclusion is that multiple stations set 1 hour, 12-hour, 24-hour, or August-specific records, with Chiba City recording the most extreme total. Evacuation statistics require careful explanation because Japan uses several different alert categories. At 11 a.m. Friday, the Fire and Disaster Management Agency reported 95,289 people covered by emergency safety assurance measures and 102,085 people covered by evacuation orders. These were 2 separate groups, not one group contained inside the other. Together, the orders and emergency measures covered approximately 197,874 people. That number represents the population covered by official instructions. It does not mean that every person physically entered a shelter. At 6 a.m., Chiba Prefecture reported that 7,359 people were staying in 359 shelters across 39 municipalities. A separate group consisted of commuters and travelers who could not return home because trains, buses, and roads had stopped operating. By 2:15 a.m., 3,877 stranded people had been accepted at 17 temporary stay facilities near Chiba-han, Chiba Soga, Chiba Minato, Kaihan Makahari, Matsudo, Abiko, Ichikawa, and Tateyama stations. Around Soga Station alone, authorities estimated that approximately 4,000 people had been unable to continue their journeys. At 5 a.m., the governor of Chiba requested assistance from the ground self-defense force. Beginning at 6:45 a.m., 3 large buses from the 1st Airborne Brigade and 3 minibuses from the air. Defense Artillery School began transporting stranded passengers from Soga Station to temporary accommodation facilities. The military mission consisted of passenger transportation and liaison support. Police and Chiba City Fire Service helicopters, rather than military rescue helicopters, conducted aerial assessments of the affected areas. The Disaster Relief Act was applied to 24 municipalities outside Chiba City. Chiba City, which is authorized to administer relief directly, began its own disaster relief measures. The power outage reached approximately 68,000 homes at its peak. By 2:30 p.m. Friday, that number had fallen to approximately 19,600 homes, concentrated mainly in Chiba City. Flooding at the Soga electrical substation had interrupted transmission. The water had receded by Friday afternoon, but engineers still needed to inspect the equipment before restoring all service. Gas service was also temporarily suspended for approximately 12,890 customers. Reports placed most of the interruption in parts of Yachiyo and Sakura. Authorities had not issued a reliable timetable for full restoration, so any prediction that service would remain out for several days would be speculation. The road and river numbers most widely reported Friday came from a 5 Limur AM prefectural assessment. 24 road sections fully closed because of surface flooding, 12 precautionary weather-related closures, 6 road sections fully closed because of landslides or slope failures, 4 additional flooded sections under alternating one-way traffic, and 3 landslide-affected sections under alternating one-way traffic. By 5 p.m., many expressway sections had reopened, but closures remained on all of the Chiba to Gain Road, all of the Choshi Link Road, and part of the Keno Expressway between Mobara Chonan and Matsuo Yokoshiba because of landslide damage. The prefecture also reported that at 5 a.m., 8 rivers were under level 4 flood danger information. Shinsaka River, Saka River, Ebi River, Lake Teganuma, Murata River, Takasaki River, Yoro River, and Sakuta River. At that same time, the Murata River was under level 5 flood occurrence information. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport, and Tourism said flooding had been confirmed by camera. This was a 5 a.m. status report and should not be presented as proof that the river remained at level 5 throughout Friday afternoon. Additional early infrastructure reports included 8 overflowing manholes, 6 damaged or displaced manholes, 1 vehicle damaged by a displaced cover, and 2 cases involving disabled pumps or debris removal equipment. Narita International Airport did not stop flight operations completely. The main crisis was on the ground. Rail services, highway access, buses, and taxis were severely disrupted Thursday night. Chiba Prefecture initially counted approximately 6,000 people remaining inside the terminals, while later airport and media reports placed the number at about 6,600 to 7,000. Airport staff distributed water, snacks, and sleeping bags. Most flights were expected to operate normally on Friday, even while thousands of passengers waited for ground transportation to recover. Rail service across the prefecture resumed unevenly. As of 4 p.m. Friday, JR East expected the Sobu Main Line, Narita Line, and Keio Line to resume across all sections during the day. However, the Narita Express, sections of the Uchibo and Sotobo lines, and the entire Togain and Karuri lines were expected to remain suspended for the rest of Friday. The disruption also affected highways and local roads, producing long delays for vehicles attempting to bypass closed sections. It is therefore more accurate to describe Chiba's transportation network as severely disrupted than to say that every train, bus, and airport operation had stopped. The disaster resulted from several atmospheric ingredients arriving over the same area at the same time. A high-pressure system east of the Kuril Islands extended over northern and eastern Japan. Warm, moisture-rich air moved around the edge of that system and into the Kanto region. At the same time, unusually cold air for the season was present higher in the atmosphere. The contrast created extreme instability. Thunderstorms repeatedly formed, organized into narrow bands, and moved over the same parts of Chiba. Instead of one storm passing through, new cells continued developing behind earlier ones. This is the pattern known in Japan as a linear precipitation band. 3 such bands were identified during the event. Once the ground became saturated, additional rainfall flowed rapidly into streets, drainage systems, and rivers. Low-lying roads and underpasses filled first. Vehicles became trapped, and rising water interrupted rail and electrical infrastructure. Typhoon Nanka was active far to the southeast near Minamotorishima, but it did not cause the Chiba disaster and was not forecast to approach Japan's main islands. The flooding was driven by local atmospheric instability and moisture transport, not by a typhoon making landfall. Climate research shows that a warmer atmosphere can hold more water vapor, increasing the potential for intense rainfall. However, no formal attribution study had yet determined how much climate change influenced this specific Chiba event. The immediate meteorological causes were the unstable air mass, abundant moisture, and repeated linear rain bands. Although the level 5 warnings ended at 5:15 a.m., Chiba remained vulnerable. The ground was saturated. Some rivers were still high. Drainage systems and transportation routes had been damaged. Even a smaller additional storm could create new flooding or trigger a slope failure. In a regional forecast issued Friday morning for the 24 hours from 6 a.m. August 14 to 6 a.m. August 15, forecasters projected maximum totals of 150 millimeters in southern Kanto, 120 millimeters in northern Kanto, 80 millimeters in the Koshin region, and 50 millimeters in the Aizu Islands. Southern Kanto could receive localized rainfall of up to 80 millimeters in 1 hour. Thunderstorms were possible through early Saturday. Chiba Prefecture urged residents to avoid unnecessary travel, stay away from rivers and drainage channels, and never enter flooded roads in a vehicle. Drivers with vehicles parked in low-lying locations were advised to move them before flooding began, if it was still safe to do so. Residents were also told to follow current municipal evacuation instructions. They were advised to check the Japan Meteorological Agency's official warning and hazard maps. Warning levels and river conditions can change rapidly, so a figure reported at 5 a.m. should never be treated as the status several hours later. By late Friday afternoon, the Corps confirmed figures were 8 deaths, no remaining confirmed missing person in the latest mid-afternoon update, 4 minor injuries reported in an earlier assessment, 1 partially destroyed home, 84 homes with confirmed above-floor or below-floor flooding, 7,359 people recorded in shelters at 6 a.m., 3,877 stranded commuters accepted at temporary stay facilities by 2:15 a.m., approximately 19,600 homes still without electricity at 2:30 p.m., approximately 12,890 customers affected by temporary gas suspension, and approximately 6,600 to 7,000 people stranded overnight at Narita Airport. These figures describe different moments during a fast-changing disaster. They should not be combined without their timestamps. Survey teams had not yet reached every flooded neighborhood. Damage to homes, businesses, roads, farms, and public facilities was still being assessed. Additional reports were expected as water receded and access improved. What can already be stated with confidence is this: the August 2026 Chiba heavy rain produced record rainfall. It overwhelmed transportation across a major part of the prefecture. It forced thousands into shelters and temporary facilities and killed 8 people. The most intense rain had ended by Friday morning, but the emergency did not end with it. Saturated slopes, damaged roads, interrupted utilities, and the possibility of further thunderstorms meant that recovery had to begin under continued weather risk. For residents, the priority remained simple: follow current local warnings, avoid floodwater and unstable slopes, and allow emergency crews to reach the communities still being assessed.